I want to welcome you to our third week of class. I know there's a lot of reading, especially when you're reading our textbooks. Plus, we're also asking you to read the book, Why Christians Are Hate-Filled Hypocrites and Other Lies We Tell Ourselves. But it really is valuable information, and while at this point in your life it may not seem significant, but if you really pay attention to it, I think you will get some nuggets that will really affect the way that you see the world. So in this week reading, we read chapters 4, 5, and 6. We're dealing with social interactions, especially those that are influenced by groups. Chapter 4 deals with the process of socialization. It does a good job of talking about the different theories of where our self comes from. You want to pay special attention to the theories of Piaget, Kohlberg, Cooley. I really like the looking glass self, and so there's a lot that goes with that. And also Freud. Each provide a different approach and insight into the development of our self-identity. These theories are discussed a lot in different academic disciplines. So getting a good basis of understanding of each will pay off in the future. The first part of the chapter, 5, allows us to see how individual actions affect those around us and how they must be interpreted within the context that they are performed. An example would be lifting your hands. If you lift your hands in your worship service, it means one thing. If you're lifting your hands at a concert, it might mean something else. If you're lifting your hands in a ball game, it might mean cheering. Where if you're standing on the street corner up against a wall and police are behind you, lifting your hand means something totally different. So any human action must be interpreted by the people that are there, the context that are there, and the reason people are doing it. Another good example of this is demonstrated in the cross-cultural social interaction quiz in our text on page 104. After reading it, it's a really good time to stop and reflect on how your actions can be interpreted by others, especially by ethnic groups. Now on to chapter 6. Chapter 6 deals with social groups, different kinds and their functions. For example, it talks about 6 functions of social group. Every group has to do these 6 things. Has to define their boundaries, a system for choosing leaders, a way of making decisions, a way of setting goals, a way of signing tasks, and controlling behavior. Every group does this. In class, when we talk about it, we often look at our quad mates and all the rules and what goes on in that social group. How do they choose the leaders? Are they informal, formally chosen? How do they determine boundaries? So forth. We also talk about a sports team, basketball team. How do they define their boundaries? How do they make decisions? How do they set goals? And again, the important part here is that every group has these 6 functions. And so it's interesting to see how they function in different settings. From the informal groups, then on the next chapter, we move on to talk about formal groups, such as a bureaucracy. This is a good time to look at the church and to see the bureaucratic aspects that accompany it. A solid understanding of Weber's view of bureaucracy, and especially the iron law of oligarchy, I love that word, bring that word up in a party, can help one understand many of the things that take place in the organized church, and especially as it leads to alienation. The discussion question for the week is, from our text, what are the traits of bureaucracy? So they do a good job of outlining those traits in our text. And then, is the organized church a bureaucracy? What are bureaucracy's strengths and weaknesses? Well, I hope you enjoy the reading and discussion this week. And the class is going really fast, so do your best to stay on top of it. God bless you, and have a great week.